Left-hand octaves on piano is something players use a lot. As well as being a common position to get comfortable with for lots of different situations, it's one way how to make a piano accompaniment part sound bigger and more impactful. And it's also just a good starting point for learning how to use your left hand in lots of other ways. If you're new here, this channel is your guide through developing all the different skills and knowledge you need to become a better piano player and musician. So if that's something you want to do, consider clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything you need to learn. In my last video, I showed you how to play this pattern with single notes in the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... We're going to use that same example, but this time with octaves in the left hand. If you haven't played anything like that before, then check out that other video first. There's a link in the description, as I get a lot more in-depth into how to learn to play the main rhythm and then come back here to add the octaves. So the difference here is that we're going to double the left hand note 1 octave lower. Here's our left hand note C. The next C down is 1 octave lower. If you struggle to reach an octave like this coming down exactly together, then don't worry, because we're actually going to break them up in this, and I have some ways to practice it. So we'll be playing the lower note and then coming up to the high note, which is easier than coming down together. If it is completely impossible for you, you can also let go and move your wrist up and hold the pedal down. That'll let the lower note ring out and no one listening will know you've let go of the note. If you don't have a pedal yet, that's fine. Still practice it anyway. I really suggest giving it a go and seeing if you can build up to it. I've had loads of students who swore to start with that they couldn't play an octave, but I've not had one yet who actually couldn't after practicing and approaching the technique a bit differently. It's often not that you can't physically reach it, it's just that you're not accustomed to holding your fingers out like that. But you can often build up to it with practice. There's a little trick that if you hold this note down with your 5th finger, you can use the next note along as a little hold to grip onto to help support your hand when you're stretching out. Although we'll be using C to C, I'm just going to do an example trying to reach C to E to demonstrate where my maximum stretch is. So if I go over the top, you'll notice that I can just about touch that E with my thumb, but I can't get the note down without also pushing the D next to it down. So for you, maybe that's the B and the C. If your hand is too over the top like this, it puts more pressure here and you won't be able to reach your thumb as far. It's really important to pull your wrist back and down and come at the notes more from this angle, making sure to keep your wrist nice and flexible and relaxed. You can reach further here and are less likely to pull down the previous note as well. It's going to feel a bit different for everyone depending on the size of your hand, so you need to experiment and practice finding your sweet spot. If you have smaller hands, you might need to come back a bit further. And you can practice building up the control at that octave stretch by first putting your thumb a couple of notes back, getting used to that, and then moving up to the next one. And when that feels comfortable, up to an octave. Don't force it too much or overstretch because you don't want to hurt your hand. And don't over practice it too much in one go either, because again, you don't want to hurt yourself. So once you can do that, we're going to practice lifting your thumb up whilst keeping hold of that bottom note. It's almost like you're pivoting on that 5th finger. So play that bottom note, make sure you can hold on to it comfortably, and then you're going to lift up your thumb up and down, but it's almost like there's a bit of forearm rotation pivoting on this 5th finger. Don't go miles. You just come up and down with your thumb and a little bit of rotation in your wrist. Keep everything nice and relaxed. Control the movement with your arm. So practice like this, just going back and forth, nice and slow. Put the pedal down if you want to make it sound nicer. And when that's comfortable, we'll bring the right hand in. So the overall rhythm pattern between our hands was this. Together, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, together. Remember to check the other video linked in the description if you can't do that yet, where I also talk about how we're going to count the pattern too. So the only difference here then is that we're going to play that low C on beat 1 on the first hands together, and then hold it down while the rest of the rhythm goes back and forth between the right hand and the left thumb, like this. Together, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, together, and then loop it round. Remember, we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Remember to actually check that you are holding this down, as often people might either do this, where they just lift it up by accident, or they go back and forth like this. Don't get your fingers stuck in the keys. A hand has to come up and release the key before it can push it back down again. And as you're playing, your right hand is going to sort of push your left hand up. When that comes down, it pushes your right hand up and so on. But don't make it static. Keep some motion in your wrists like this so it feels like a constant movement. And then when you get round to the start of the cycle, you do your last 4. And on that one, you need to push everything up so hands can get down together again, the chord and the lower finger. See if you can count the 1 and 2 and 3 and as well, and practice it as slowly as you need like we did in the other video, keeping it nice and even and steady. A couple of slight variations that you could try out. You could come down together on beat 1 if you want to make it even bigger, and then lift your thumb immediately straight up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you can also do the ands with the lower left hand note if you like as well. It creates a slightly different texture, in which case you have to practice pivoting the other way from your thumb. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then to apply this to a chord progression, you're literally just going to lift up in between the chords and move to your new position and do exactly the same thing over the top of those notes. The bottom end of my keyboard was cut off, so I've just changed everything so it sounds an octave lower. So what was in this octave is now up here so you can see. Here's a chord progression with that pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, change. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, change. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Remember, you can check out that other video with lots of musical sounding beginner exercises. Let me know in the comments how you got on with this octave pattern, and please give it a like if you found it helpful, as that really helps out the channel. And subscribe for more content to help you develop your piano playing. Thanks for watching.